now you see her.
You are magnificent!
Welcome to Her Table, the podcast that shines a spotlight on the badass women who are redefining the game. Join hosts Kate Foley and Megan Martinez as they unlock the secrets of success from the brightest female pioneers in the industry. Whether you're a young woman aspiring to break into the sports industry or a seasoned professional looking for fresh inspiration, come on and grab a seat at Her Table, where women's voices are amplified, dreams are realized, and the game is changed.
You must always have faith in yourself.
Seek out strong women to befriend, to learn from, to be inspired by.
Women need a seat at the table, and in some cases, they need to create their own table.
Welcome, everybody. This is Her Table. I'm Kate.
I'm Megan.
And we're going to actually let you guys get to know us.
Yes.
Surprisingly, we just met for the first time today.
I know. Wild.
And I feel like we've been together forever.
I know. Hearing all about Cardi B and everything. Love it.
The world works in mysterious ways.
It does.
Well, today we are going to get to know the two hosts, how we started, why we're at Her Table.
Yes.
What does it mean for us? And also who we are.
Yes.
Because we're asking everybody else who they are. Yeah. And you know what? We think it's fair for you guys to get to know who we are. So stay tuned this week. We are going to give you guys the skinny, the tea, all of that above. And we can't wait to share with you guys our stories here at Her Table.
Kate, you are an epic person, literally and figuratively. You're a boss, everything. Can you please tell the listeners what you do and where you are in your career? Because you're crushing it.
No, honestly, I am a work in progress, continuing to grow, but I am the president and CEO of Epic Consulting. I'm an MBA agent, which is hilarious because that's not my path originally, but at the same breath I oversee marketing and branding for athletes as well, so kind of sit on both sides and sit at the top, so I get to oversee, pick and choose what part I'm going to step into and be a part of, but been so blessed to work with amazing athletes right in my career as they were rising, with Steph and Giannis, to just like grow with them, and Wes Matthews and Jordan Clarkson, and guys that are in the league and staples in the league now is so cool. To now have, one of the youngest players in the history of the NBA in Ron Holland. Wow. So it's kind of been like a breath between the two. But it's really awesome because I'm growing as a person, but I'm also growing as a professional and learning new things and new ways, and just trying to change the game of basketball for like women in sports is why we're at Her Table.
Yeah,
like
why we're here.
Literally why we're here, to highlight women that no one knows about.
Yeah. Well, how did you get to where you are today? Like, did you always want to be an agent? What was your path?
No, like I wish that the answer was yes, because then it's like, okay, this makes sense. But no part of my career was planned, made sense. Like, I originally wanted to be an athletic trainer. I love how the body works. I love fixing things and projects. And so in high school, that's what I went to college and started to major in, and majored in that for like 2 years. And then I hated 5 a.m. football practice and sock tans, and was like, this just is not my, and I went to school in Charleston, South Carolina, so it was hotter than sin. Yeah. And it was like, you know what? I love it. And I ended up getting a degree in it, but it wasn't like where my calling was. An MBA agent wasn't it either. I went to work for Jordan Brand right out of college.
Very cool.
And met George Raveling, who is one of my mentors to this day, and was like, you would be great for us. And I'm like, yeah, okay. Sure. I don't play basketball. I'm not getting chose for pickup. Like, I didn't play, don't want to play. Yeah. That's not like where I was like, oh, I would be so great at this. Like, I didn't even know it was an option. Right. Went to Jordan Brand, went to Nike for 5 years, was part of the team that built Nike EYBL. That's how old I am. Wow. It didn't exist. When I started at Nike, we built it. Oh my gosh.
That's amazing.
Which is really cool because now so many of my athletes came through EYBL. Yeah. And I'm like, I remember when there wasn't an EYBL. Oh my gosh. So that was really fun to build, and then went to the agency side, obviously, after that. And was at my last agency for 12 years. Wow. And then now I've been at Epic for 2 years. We're almost 2 years old.
So how did you start or even get into Epic Consulting?
Honestly, I was at my last agency and had built amazing brands and just wanted to feel more challenged and more in control of what I was working on, because this job is it is a commitment in itself. And I sacrifice a lot of personal time to do things that coincide with that. So like I'm not going to be at every school event because I have to travel and do production and be with clients, right? So it's a give and a take. So I wanted to be in a place where I could build something that could exist without me. And so that's kind of what my like thing at Epic has been, is like, it's not Epic is Kate Foley. It's just Kate Foley happens to run Epic. And so when I am gone and out the door and the rest of my team is running the world, that's what I want. Because I learned a long time ago, a leader's best qualities should be left in the people beyond them, not taken with them.
That's awesome.
Because if I can't create good people and a good culture and a good company and a good environment, if it dissolves when I leave, I wasn't successful. It should be sustainable when I leave. And so that's really what my goal is at Epic, is to just be like, hey, I want to build something awesome. But it stemmed from that. And it was, it was like, should we be Epic Sports? Should it be Epic this? And honestly, I landed on consulting because it allows me to kind of have more flexibility and not be so intimidating. A lot of brands are like, oh, we don't work in sports, so we don't need Epic Sports, right? So it was like, if they saw the word sports, it was an automatic, like, how do we integrate?
Right.
They don't know. As opposed to like, okay, we can be the group that helps you learn how to integrate and spend and be in a better place. Same thing for athletes. It wasn't just sports and NBA, like these guys are going to retire. So how do we help them beyond basketball? And how do we involve in their post-career? That's not just Epic Sports. So we kind of landed on just Epic Consulting. It's 360 approach so that we're not limiting ourselves or cutting ourselves out of something that is just limiting by our name. So yeah.
I know, like you mentioned, working with Steph and Giannis. So tell the like viewers about that, because I am like listening to this and I know you worked with them, but I'm like, what were you doing with them?
Yeah.
Like, how did you get that position and everything?
So when I started at Octagon my first year, Steph was drafted his that year.
Okay.
And then we went into, like, I believe, gosh, it was so long ago. We went into like a lot. So that was my first year. My second year, I had Jimmer Fredette.
Oh,
was
yeah.
my rookie.
BYU, right?
Yeah, but like Jimmer Mania. So so Steph was kind of like just at Golden State, just regular doing it. So I had Jimmer my second year as one of our rookies, and that came with Jimmer Mania. Like, people chasing us down the street to the point where it was like insane.
Wow.
And I couldn't comprehend because I hadn't gone through that yet.
Gotcha.
And I was like, we're in Provo, Utah, and people are chasing this kid down the street. What are we doing?
Yeah. He was huge.
2 years later, we're going through the same things with Stefan.
Wow.
And so, like, that's what was crazy, is, like, had I not had that experience with Jimmer, I wouldn't have been able to apply it as Steph continued to grow, because that was, like, a rapid thing. I remember one of the first big deals we did for him was with Capri Sun. Okay. And it was with John Cena, him,
oh my gosh.
Poppy, Big Poppy was in the campaign, and there was a female in the campaign. I can't remember for the life of me who it is, but it was for Capri Sun, and he was on packaging, and we're shooting with these guys, and it was like a big deal. And I remember then playing it forward and going to the grocery store and like being like, holy shit, here's this Capri Sun.
That's so cool.
That like we shot and we did and we're at, and it's like, it's in the store.
That's
like
amazing.
That going. So like being a part of an athlete's story of like off the jump first deal to, and he had deals before that, but that was the big like in-market deal where he was on packaging. Wow. That is the first one he was on packaging for. To then like, now he's the face of everything, everywhere.
Yeah, it's everywhere.
And I think if I look at him of like, what's so cool about it is he was authentically himself. Like we were never going to do soda. He doesn't, because he and his wife Aisha did not want to endorse things that like they didn't feel were healthy or right, that were on brand for them as a family. Okay. So he never wanted to do soda. So which is why there was no Coke or Pepsi or whatever, right? It wasn't. Which is interesting, and most people don't know that.
I didn't
but
know that,
that was for him, like,
makes sense.
important.
Okay. Yeah.
So, you know, you're sitting there and you're like, but there's all these people who want to pay you all this money. And he's like, I just...
Wow.
Because I have to be able to stand on it. And so that was when I got my first take of, like, being okay to say no. Because it lets you say yes later. Yeah. And that was really cool with him. So growing with him and being a part of that, like, you know, our oldest kids are very close in age. You know, watching Aisha grow has been really cool. And from where she started and her comfort level and all of that, just growing as a professional has been really sweet. But it's definitely been like one of those. that was one of those growing things. We were in Asia one time on the Under Armour tour, and we were in a van with security. And our first Under Armour tour, a learning lesson for me was like, hey, I'm glad everyone on our team can speak English. Like, we were not fluent in Mandarin. What we had, and our security team in detail were all fluent in bilingual. They could speak English or Mandarin. What we failed to identify was that our drivers also needed to be bilingual.
Oh my gosh.
So
how'd you get?
We were in the car and then we realized
Oh
and
my
luckily
gosh.
security's in the car with us and they could translate. But
Okay.
if they weren't,
wow.
what are we doing here? So everything that went into those 2-3 week tours when we would be in Asia was just watching, 20,000 people show up at a random gym that he was at, and his impact he was able to have without changing who he was so really honestly, at a young age, to be able to watch that happen, it's given me so many tools to be able to apply now to clients and say hey, I've seen this. This might not seem like it's what you want to do. Then don't do it. And it's okay because you'll thank yourself later. To, Giannis shooting his first Mountain Dew commercial.
Yeah. So he must drink soda.
He wanted money. Yes, but he does drink soda. But he did, he was part of the Mountain Dew campaign. But he shot with the can of Coke. And he was so large that it looked like one of those mini cans when we were shooting. Yeah. When he was holding it. And I'm like, note to self, didn't think about shooting that either. And then they're shooting him on a green screen and they're telling him to jump. Well, his wingspan and his leg span were off the screen.
I was going to say probably,
And they'd never had that before. So I'm okay, this picture isn't going to work.
So you're learning as you go.
As you go, right? You're learning and then you're taking that with you. So it's down to the next point where it's hey, he needs to shoot a commercial and they want him to dunk. Right, well, there's limits to that. We're not just going to dunk for 5 hours. So working with everybody on his team from a basketball side of what can we do, what can't we do?
Right.
But keeping him is really, I remember him being at his first All-Star appearance, and it was so special for his family. And just his story in general is amazing. But they're just people. Yeah. And that's where I've always just tried to approach every athlete is they're just people. Yeah. The fan expects this. They just want to be this. And if you can just treat them like this and keep them to that standard, at the end of the day, they're going to be comfortable there. And that's the hardest part because you're seeing behind the curtain a lot of times. And that's an intimidating place for a lot of people to be, especially as a female of am I standing up in this meeting? Am I saying that I don't agree with the name of this company because it probably doesn't make a ton of sense? Let's all take a step back. Are you willing to put your neck out there? Yeah. And sometimes you get it right, sometimes you get it wrong. But it's been... it's been an amazing ride to be a part of, whether it's Trae Young's story or Cam Reddish or Jarrett Culver, all these, Dante, all these guys go through the draft and watch them just become better people is all I care about. I want you to have stat lines. I want you to do this. I just want you to be a good person. Yeah. And if you're a good person, then let's go kill it all day long.
Yeah. Well, speaking of these young players, you, I guess, acquired Ron Holland.
Correct.
Is that what the correct terminology?
Yeah. No, yeah. We signed Ron for marketing and branding and
how are you able to do that? That's huge.
It is, I think a lot of it is just being true to yourself and saying okay, this is who we are and this is what we stand for and it's not for everybody, and that's okay. But also just being open and honest. And I'm really big about educating parents and educating the player on the experience and opportunities and why certain things make sense or don't make sense. And I think, he obviously was the number one player in the country. He was going to Texas. And then there was a lot that went on in Texas to then shift to now he's at G League Ignite and turned pro. And the plan was never changed. It's just a matter of where we're going. And I think giving him the confidence to just be himself. I have to remind myself he's only 17.
17, so young.
So I was having this conversation with his mom the other day about, she's like, he sleeps in his contacts at night. Oh. And I said, he's just lazy.
That's the worst.
He's 17, right? But he's 17. Yeah. He's not doing it to be a pain, but he's just whatever. He's lazy. Yeah. And so, I have to remind myself that he's not my 15-year vet in the league. And what I expect from him, I can't expect from a 17-year-old. Yeah. So it does make you kind of shift your perspective a little bit and step back. But it's honestly, he's a great young man. We're excited to work with him.
Exciting.
And
Yeah.
It's going to be a really fun 9 months as we get him through G League and then hopefully, prepare to go.
Yeah.
Number
I'm
1 in the
excited.
draft. You're
Let's
hearing
go.
it right here. Number 1, 2024.
Love it. Well, so speaking of you just being a woman in this industry, I don't know many women NBA agents. Can you talk on that?
Yeah.
What
There's
that's
not,
like?
honestly, there's not a ton of them. There's becoming more and more.
Okay.
Which I love.
Yeah.
I think one of, the biggest challenges is it wasn't, for me, it wasn't like I was like, I want to be her. There was no her.
Right.
And it's kind of evolved and grown. I think, you see a lot of people that it's now becoming available to them. It wasn't like I woke up and was like, I want to be an NBA agent. Did not.
Yeah.
But I'm like, you know what? I keep gathering these experiences. I keep gathering this expertise and these tools in my tool belt. There's no reason I can't do this.
Right.
And that was one of the hardest tests I've taken in my life. It was 3 hours long.
Wow. So you have to take a test. So yeah, for people
You gotta
who
take you gotta take a
don't know how to
test.
do
You have to
that.
have a college degree,
Okay.
and you have to take a test.
Okay.
And you have to pay dues and be a part of all of this stuff. But you gotta pass the test.
Okay.
And it's a 3-hour test. It is. If you don't study and you don't know what you're doing,
Yeah.
no chance.
What kind of questions are they asking?
There's only 50 questions. A lot of them are based on the CBA. Shout out Sports Business Classroom and their CBA mastery classes. Honestly,
Yeah.
without those, I think it'd be hard for people to pass.
Okay.
It's a lot of math. It's also a lot of just do you know the rules?
Okay. Just educating yourself and all that.
Yeah,
and-
it's interesting because I thought there was going to be more if this happens, what do you do? And it's not. It's just
Okay.
literally facts that can be found, right? Because everyone's going to handle situations differently. So that's really interesting. But yeah, it wasn't by design. I think as the world continues to grow and change, it will be more acceptable. I do think there is still an old boys club where it's where she doesn't play basketball. How can she know what she's doing?
Exactly.
Does she know does she know what it means to negotiate this, that, the other? So it's still frustrating to me because I still think there's that barrier of
sure.
openness.
Yeah.
I also think there is a barrier of fear of if you open Pandora's box, now I've sat here and I've put some of these agents are I played in the NBA, I have this experience that no one else can give you. To then bring somebody in like me who doesn't have that experience, but they can do the exact same thing.
Right.
That's intimidating.
Proving yourself and speaking
But I know
to
I know what it
clients.
is.
Yeah.
I know the rules. The
Yeah.
rules are the rules for me or, Bill Duffy. They are the exact same. So when you boil that down, it's do you want to raise up somebody who you believe in, who has great character, great morals, and is going to continue to grow the game of basketball? Or are you going to not advance them because they might push down your star just a little bit?
Right.
So it's definitely been interesting. I've tried so hard. Some days I'm great. I want to just be myself.
Yeah.
I think it's easy in sports. You work in sports to just get wrapped
Right.
up in okay, I'm going to show up in sweats and Jordans and this and that because that is what's expected.
Right.
Where I'm no, I'm going to wear pink satin pants and, my Skims top and let that be it, or my Good American suit. That's just me.
Be
and
authentically you.
that is what I have found when I ask my athletes to be authentically them.
Yeah.
I'm able to give them back and
Yeah.
reassure them that I can do that, you can do that, and that's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And was there a time when you were going through all this, was there a valuable lesson you learned that you would love to share with your younger self or your person that wants to be like you?
I mean, I think, trying not to let other people's opinion of yourself affect your own internal outlook on yourself is so it's easy to say, but it's so hard to do because you're you want to be liked.
Yep.
You want to be a part of the group. You want to fit in. You don't want to ruffle any feathers. But then you have to sit back and say, maybe that's what God made me here to do on this earth. And that's my job.
Right.
I'm supposed to change people's perceptions of things. And so I think it would be it's okay to be you. I think I did go through a phase where I had to have, I've had an executive say to me, just be an executive say to me, just be the pretty face we hired you to be.
That's unreal.
But it happens. And
Yeah,
so
it does. It happens.
It happens. And for me, I took that learning lesson of okay, if someone says something to me that I don't think is appropriate, I'm going to speak up.
Good.
And then they have the opportunity to change how they approach me or the next person, or they're not going to change.
Yeah.
But they can't say they weren't made aware.
Yeah.
Because sometimes I feel like as women, we're just like, don't say anything.
Yeah.
Don't upset them.
For sure.
Don't do this, that, the other.
Yeah.
Don't be difficult.
Right.
It's like, no, but I'm going to be respectful of myself. And so
Yeah.
that's what I would say is just respect yourself enough to where you feel like you need to say something.
Yeah.
Say it.
Yeah.
Be respectful when you do, but also don't, stop shrinking to fit into places you've outgrown is something that I like try and live by, because it's like, why do I need to, this is me growing, grow, but don't hold yourself back because it's what's comfortable.
Yeah.
You should be growing.
love
But yeah,
it.
it's hard.
Amazing.
It is
I know.
hard.
It's tough.
It is
tough working in the
you work
sports world.
in the sports world, there's the next you, and there's
Yeah.
somebody that's willing to do what you're not willing to do.
Right.
And they're willing to bend on what you're not willing to bend on from like a self-worth space.
Right.
And it's like, but they get it. And then they get that job or they get that advancement or they get that opportunity. And you're like, well, maybe I should have done this. But then you're like, you know what?
Yeah.
That's just not my opportunity
Gotta
then.
stay true to yourself. Yeah.
It's not my opportunity.
Yeah.
No, it's definitely been a challenge.
It's tough.
Yeah. Yeah, I've had that. And then I had an NBA executive ask me to get him a glass of water because he thought I worked for him. And I was like,
What was your position at the time?
So this was in the middle of a free agency with one of our athletes. We were visiting different teams and interviewing and meeting with them on, should he play there or not there, whatever. And my athlete like heard it, and then he just looked at me, and I was like, no, just don't say anything.
Did you
like,
and that wasn't the time to just...
I just ignored the comment and because I was so like, oh my gosh, don't be that difficult girl.
Yeah.
And I'm tired of...
That's tough to even like have to think that way.
But I'm also just like...
Yeah.
I wanted to be like, actually, I would love a glass of
Yeah,
water.
can you get me one?
Yeah, well,
Thanks.
yeah, I would love one. And now as I'm older, I feel like I would be more confident in like giving that response of like, oh no, I don't want any water. Thank you so much. Like flipping it around to be like, you asked me for something, but I'm going to ignore that and then feel like you were offering something to me, and then you're going to look at me like, what? But that's just like experience. It's getting it wrong and then figuring out how to get it right.
Okay.
And that's honestly like the best advice I could give to anyone.
I love that. And then where do you see yourself in 10 years?
It's interesting. Like, I think one of the spaces that I want to see continue to shift, I think women bring a unique perspective on business and I call it personality management, of the ability to encourage people to do what you need them to do without demanding that they do it. And, you see a lot of times there are a lot of personalities in this league, a lot. They don't always play nicely in the sandbox together.
Yeah.
But I think the teams that you see are successful are the ones that have an embracing culture and they have an inclusive culture that isn't going to let that type of thing disrupt what they're trying to do. And for me, 10 years from now, I hope I'm on a beach in Tahiti just chilling, living my best life. But if I'm working in sports, I think it would continue to grow, obviously grow Epic and grow what I'm doing. But I also think like there's a world where more women should have the opportunity to be an executive, front office executive, interfacing within operations and personnel.
Right.
Because I think sometimes it's just assumed that you have to play basketball, you have to have done this, and you have to be this basketball person to be a GM or an assistant GM. And I don't think that's the case. There's so many analytics guys, so many scouts, so many that's at the end of the day, that GM position really is kind of that like mothership position where they're kind of just making sure everything's flowing the right direction. But a lot of it's personality management. And how do you inspire? It's like, how do you inspire people to do what you want them to do and let them think it's their idea?
Yeah.
That's literally
how
I don't know. I'm gonna solve this problem. But I would love to see myself in a front office somewhere.
That'd be awesome.
I think that would be fantastic.
Yeah.
I think for me, just having so much experience from a basketball side, but also a marketing side, whether that's fan experience, player experience, family experience, and just employee experience, creating that culture that's intertwined, I think is what you're going to start to see in the NBA as the older generation starts to phase out.
Right.
It's less about skill and it's more about the people and the person, not just the talent level. And that's where the shift's going to happen because the talent doesn't always warrant the person, and the person is what's going to sell tickets, not the talent, consistently.
Love it. No,
Consistently.
that's great. I guess last question maybe,
Yeah.
unless they want to have more.
Unless the curtain tells you we need more.
Yes,
The
person,
curtain.
wherever he is.
Please, yeah, coming in live.
Is there somebody you look up to?
Mm-hmm.
I know you said like when you first got into the space there wasn't a you. Is there somebody maybe if it's like just in any capacity that you inspire to be
You
like?
know, I think there's a couple. So I love what Jessica Holtz has been able to do.
Yeah.
She has kind of blazed a path. I think I would give a lot of props to her players for entrusting her with that. And it's easier to say I'm not sure than to be like, I know you got it.
Yeah.
And she has your back. And, you know, for her to do 2 max deals, the first, you know, woman agents do max deal, it's huge.
Yeah.
So I think she's inspiring to me.
Very cool.
I think the other person I think for me would be probably George Raveling.
Okay.
Watching him change the game of basketball, but just his ability to have impact and influence at any table he's at because of his reputation, because of his expertise. He's older. He's not out there playing. He's not out there hooping in the pickup thing. But when he sits down, he commands attention.
Right.
And I think that's something I aspire to do is when you talk, people listen. Instead of they hear you, like they are listening. Not just hearing your words, but they are listening, digesting, and moving it forward because that's, you know, what he's done for me without knowing.
Right.
But when I still see him, it's like he's still moving and shaking and doing, and he is still just as important as he was before in the same capacity, but he hasn't let, you know, what he's done or will do change who he is. He's just, every time I see him, he gives me like a bag of books and he's like, these are the books I want you to read. And I'm like, okay, but like that's his thing. And I love it. And it's really sweet because it's his way of pushing you to be a better version of yourself without saying like, you need to do X, Y, Z. It's like, hey, read these. I think these would be great for you. And it's that little nudge that you might need sometimes that you're not willing to take, but then you're like, okay, well, maybe. Yeah.
Okay.
And then you do. But those would be ones. Yeah.
What about for like somebody who wants to be you in the future?
They don't. No one wants to be me. That I can promise you.
Badass sports agent.
No. Listen.
What is your advice? What paths should they take to get to where you are?
You know, there's so many paths now of people that you could take sports marketing classes. You can take, you know, NBA agent classes. Like, you can do so many things to get in there. I think one of the things I learned is you have to try things to see what you don't like to do. Because it's hard to pinpoint what you want to do, but it's easier when you kind of open the door to, like, everything. And then you're like, okay, that wasn't much like athletic training. Like, I love it. It just wasn't what I saw myself doing forever. Now, could I do it? Yeah. But it wasn't what I was, like, in love with. And so to walk away from the comfort to find something else was that's a little like my dad's like, are you really sure that's what you want to do? Are we talking about the same thing here? Are you sure they're gonna give you a job, Kate? Like what? But it would be to take opportunities. I think it's also to be present and connect with people. Because the one thing I have learned is you never know. Never know. Who is gonna be where you're next. And how you treat people matters. They might not remember what you say, but they remember how you make them feel.
Exactly.
And like that's one of the things that's like so magical about like her table and like our space like we're in is like I want people to walk away feeling just like their story mattered, they were heard, but also like they were badass people and celebrate them.
Celebrating them,
not
for
just
sure.
like come on here, let's talk about your story and keep it moving. It's like I want to be able to help nurture all these people and be involved and excited and champion for them.
Right.
So I think the next Kate, I would say don't be scared. I would say go for it. But I would also say be aware. There is a lot of roadblocks. Like even for me, like what I wear matters.
Yeah, I know.
I know it sucks.
It does.
But it's life. It is what it is. So, you know, I'm not going to show up in an inappropriate outfit for work. Because I can't.
Right.
And that's okay. I've come to peace with that.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like, I'm aware of it. So just being aware of your surroundings, your settings, being present, and really just taking any opportunity you can. Because you never know where it's going to lead.
Yeah.
Like, you literally don't. Like, the person you work for that you're not getting a job with might go somewhere else, and they call you and say, actually, we want to interview you to come work for us. Like, we learned that with Jamie. Like,
I know.
It just, you never know where it's going to go.
5
so
years, never know.
do the right thing, treat people the right way, and it will come back to you.
Yeah.
Just chase it.
Love it.
Chase it.
Is there anything you want to like tell to the audience about yourself or something that like, just anything like advice or that I didn't touch on or didn't ask?
No, honestly, I love Starbucks. I like coffee, not tea, just to be clear. Unless it's sweet tea, because I'm from the South, so I really like sweet tea, and it needs to be like almost kill you sweet tea.
Oof.
Yeah, like 15 pumps of classic, girl.
Oh my gosh.
We were. I'm slowly killing myself through sweet tea, but it's fine. No, I mean, honestly, I think the only thing we didn't touch on is being a mom.
Yes, being a mom.
Yeah.
Being able to balance.
Yeah, there is no balance, and you will get
Yeah.
it wrong some days, and you'll get it right some days.
Yeah.
And I'm not the best mom, but I strive every day to be the best version of myself as a mom that I can be.
Yeah.
And I think letting your kids see what you do, they don't always understand it. I had to go to, for my young son, I had to go to class and go to career day.
Okay.
Trying to explain to 5-year-olds what I do. Impossible. So I was like, do I just tell them I like work at, Chick-fil-A and they'll think that's cool?
Oh, cool.
Because that's
they
cool.
will.
They will.
Yeah, that is.
And I like laugh and I'm like, when they get older, they'll understand. I also protect them a lot because they're just some really crazy people in this world. And I also know what I do and where I go. And my job is so overwhelming.
Right.
I forget how overwhelming it is. I have 2 new girls on my staff. They're both named Katie. And at All-Star, they were just like, Kate, this is crazy. Oh my gosh. We're like in the lobby. Everyone's here. Like, you know everyone. Like talking this, that, the other. And all these, they're like, Bam says hi. Giannis says hi. Like all these people. And I'm just like, hi, good to see you. Like whatever. Like it's not a big deal. But for them, they're like,
but trust me.
oh my gosh. And so I forget the world that I live in. And I had a moment one time where Scooter Braun's office was calling me.
Oh my gosh.
And I was freaking out because I was like, Scooter Braun's office is calling me. I love Justin Bieber. I might not know all, 15 guys on the Warriors staff, but I know Justin Bieber. So I was like, oh my gosh, like Scooter Braun's calling me, like I'm having a panic attack. And then my team was like, Kate, do you know that like you are Scooter Braun on the other side?
Yeah.
And I was like, what?
That's so true.
And they were like, no, Kate, like people get excited when you call them. And I'm like, no, they don't. And they're like, no, for real. Yeah. Like you forget the world you live in.
Yeah.
You are Scooter Braun on that side. And I'm like, wow.
Wow.
But Scooter Braun's still calling me.
Wait, so can we go?
Justin wanted Stefan to do a meet and greet with his cousin at the Toronto game.
Okay.
So it was really sweet to like make that happen.
Fun. So you met Justin Bieber.
I did not. I wasn't there, but yeah.
But you made it happen.
If I could have been, I would have been. I'm still trying to meet Justin Bieber.
Scooter.
Scooter. Shout out Scooter. No, he was in the celebrity game a couple years ago when I was there with Giannis, and he was like in the next room to where our appearance was. And I was like, Yanni, like he's over there. Like he was over there. And he's like, I cannot meet him without my brothers. And I'm like, I don't care about your brothers right now. This could be something we could live forever for. And we never ended up meeting him because he didn't want to go without his brothers, which was sweet. But I'm like,
wow.
So maybe one day.
One day. Manifest it, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
One day I'm going to run into him and I'm going to be like, and they're going to be like, I'm going to be like, don't worry. Like I literally just,
Okay.
I'm with it.
What's your favorite team? NFL, NBA, maybe a completely different league I'm not even naming. I don't know.
Are you implying where we're going? It's funny. I don't necessarily have a favorite team in the NBA. It's hard to have a favorite team because I have guys on different teams. Yeah. And they change a lot. So I try not to get too committed to the team or committed to the player. I do love the Savannah Bananas right now on TikTok. I think they're so fun to watch. And it's fun. It's engaging. It's also different.
Yeah. So different.
So different.
Such a fun game to go to.
I mean, again, like what are they doing? I don't know, but it makes you watch.
I know. I can't keep my eyes off it when I'm like, wow, they're dancing and like catching, like what is going
they're
on
not
right
too
now?
bad looking though either, Megan. That's why Megan's watching them. Okay, but any single Savannah Bananas out there? Come on, we'll have you on.
Yeah, come on, join her table, please.
No, but yeah. So I mean, I don't really have like. Growing up, I was a Pittsburgh Steelers. My family's Pittsburgh Steelers because they're from Pittsburgh. Okay. So they had family tickets forever and a day, like season tickets. I think we still have them, honestly.
We get so cold there.
Yeah, we don't go. But yeah, I would say like Pittsburgh Steelers.
Okay. MLB or NHL?
I was an Atlanta Braves fan for a while.
Okay.
I went through a phase where when I was younger, I collected baseball cards.
Fun.
I know. I'm like, where are those now, Dad?
Yeah,
Because they're probably
I know.
worth a lot of money.
I know. Wow.
But I collected baseball cards.
Wow.
Don't ask me why. So I went
Yeah.
through like a year phase where I was like a baseball fan. So I would say, I
Okay.
guess Atlanta Braves would be fine.
Braves.
Yeah,
Okay.
the Braves. But yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah.
What would you do if you weren't doing what you're doing right now? I know, that's a tough question.
It's a tough one.
It is.
Honestly, I would probably say it would be something in consumer experience. Like, I would, like, a dream job for me is to work at Disney. I know that
Oh my
sounds silly.
gosh. No,
but
it's
I
so
love
fun.
being able to take a brand and immerse someone in it to where they forget about everything else. Like, that's how you know you do it right, is when you can take something and put someone in it and they don't even realize it.
Right.
I know that might sound like kind of creepy.
No.
But I don't know, maybe working for Disney on just like whether that's guest experience or just overall park experience to how to elevate someone to feel like the Disney experience.
Yeah.
It's because I love it and I get
yeah.
it. But I don't know, I would
know.
probably say that. Or I'd work at Starbucks.
I know, I was thinking you're going to go Starbucks route, but Disney.
Starbucks route, I
Yeah.
definitely wouldn't qualify for the teacher job. I didn't get that. I cannot do that.
Patience. That's a lot of patience.
Yeah, God gave that gift to someone else,
Yeah.
not me. So I'll bow out. I don't want to be that teacher. All right, Megan.
Cool.
All
Yeah,
right.
let's
You
get
know what?
into it.
We're gonna play this or that. I know
Okay.
what Max didn't want us to play.
I know,
but I
the
want to
first
play.
thing.
Okay, so you take the first top
Okay.
5, and I'll take the bottom 5 for you.
I have to see the first top 5.
Okay. All right. So I'm gonna close. Okay. Oh, I'm asking you, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
But
Okay.
I don't
okay.
have the paper.
TV or movies?
TV. Movies
Huh?
are too long.
Movies are too long.
Yeah.
You have like a short attention span.
Yeah, I do have a short attention span. Yeah. So TV is but then you get sucked in and you start watching like Love Island every single night. And like,
Are you a Love Island fan?
I am a Love Island fan.
You watch Love Island.
I did. I used to watch The Bachelor, and it's just like not as good as it used to be. So it's Love Island now.
Okay, I was just in the airport the other day and I saw
Oh,
the host of The Bachelor in the airport.
Jesse Palmer or Chris Harrison?
Chris Harrison.
Oh,
No lie.
Wow.
No lie.
What's he like? As tall in person?
Well,
or
at
shorter?
first I asked him if he was the Survivor host, and he
Oh,
was like, wrong show, and I was like, oh, sorry, my bad, but I know you're somebody. And then I was like, wait, I think it's The Bachelor, and he was like, yes, and I was like, oh, you look familiar, but like.
Survivor.
Wrong show. Like, you should be happy that I even recognize you with a hat on in an airport with some sweats on. So,
Wow.
like,
Yeah, you're welcome.
cool. Wrong show. Well, if you host Survivor, I'm going to be like, maybe I was just telling you, manifesting what was coming next
Yeah,
for you.
maybe. He's looking for something, I'm pretty sure. So that's nice of you.
Why? Because Jesse Palmer took over?
Yeah. Yeah.
Then maybe that's what's happening.
I think-
The world keeps turning. Are you a coffee or tea?
Tea, kombucha, particularly.
Kombucha.
Yeah, it's my fave. I drink it like every single day. Been drinking it since I was a sophomore in college, I think. So
Why? Like, what's the point?
Okay, so my parents never drank coffee growing up,
Okay.
so I never really liked it. And
Okay.
then my sister introduced it to me probably 5 years ago maybe. And it's just like the benefits are great. It's probiotics. It's like natural caffeine.
Doesn't it have like alcohol in it though?
There's like a trace amount of alcohol, but you,
Okay,
like, you
so you don't want the coffee, but you'll
Yeah.
take the trace amount of alcohol
The
early
trace
in the
amount,
morning.
yes,
Yeah.
trace
the trace
amount.
What is it, like 0.5?
Yeah, like 0.05 probably, not
Okay,
even
well,
a
that's,
0.5.
You know what? That's more than coffee. So
You're right. You're right.
She wants the tea, people. We're getting the tea.
The actual tea.
Are you summer or winter?
That's so tough. Probably summer though.
Why?
I just love I love being outside. I love being able to like swim and go to the beach. I also like the winter a lot because I like to ski. So it's like
Okay.
a huge thing for me, but I'd rather be warm than cold.
I've
so.
never been skiing.
Oh my gosh.
I'm like probably not coordinated enough to
I'll
do
take
it.
you.
I want to like wear all the looks and like look really
yeah,
fun,
it's
and then
fun.
I'll sit up at the clubhouse while you ski, and
Yeah.
then I'll just drink my hot
I
chocolate.
was gonna say hot chocolate, chili
Yeah.
cheese fries too. They're really good in the lodge. Yeah.
Say less.
I know,
Say
right?
less. And I get to wear the cute outfit like Alex
Yes.
Earl, but I don't
Yes.
actually have to do it.
Yeah, you can just pose. I'll take the photos for you, and then I'll go ski, and then you can hang out.
I'll have your hot chocolate. Oh, wait, I'll have your hot kombucha.
Oh.
Waiting for you.
Yeah.
Can you get hot kombucha?
Yeah, probably. Maybe that should be something I look into.
Watch out, everybody.
Start a new business.
Okay, without a ski.
I
You don't have to ski, just drink kombucha.
Yeah.
Are you cats or dogs?
Dogs all the way. Love
Dogs.
Cats are great, but no, dogs.
Pizza or pasta?
Probably pizza, but I really don't eat either one.
What?
Yeah, I'm not a big, like, I don't know. I love Mexican food, and that's like my jam. But then like Italian, it just feels so heavy.
Yeah.
I don't know how to explain it, but I guess pizza.
Okay. Do you have like Italian or Hispanic heritage or anything like that?
Yeah, like I actually have both, but my dad's side is Mexican.
Okay.
So yeah, I'm a quarter Mexican.
Okay.
His grandpa was born in Mexico and everything. Yeah.
Wow.
Came over, and then my mom has some Italian on her side, but they're all over the like place, like English, Irish, Scottish. Yeah.
See, I've always wanted to do one of those like 23andMe things, but then I'm actually kind of scared because like, what if I find out something I don't want to know?
What if you're not what you think you are?
Did you see? Okay, side note. Did you see Chrissy Teigen did that like thing and she thought she had a identical twin?
Oh no, I didn't see that.
So she did like a 23andMe and it came back with like you have an identical twin.
Oh my gosh.
And she was like losing her shit, like calling her family like, I had an identical twin. Does anyone else know about this? You're not telling me about this. Like, told her dad, like, are you sure you saw me, just me, come from mom?
True.
Like, this whole thing. And she was like, this test doesn't lie. Like, it's this whole thing. And I guess then she called her someone else, maybe someone on her team. And she was like freaking out about this. And they were like, Chrissy, do you not remember we did this at the beginning of COVID to be on some show? And she was like, what? And then come to find out, long story short, her identical twin was herself.
Oh my
They had
gosh.
submitted it under a mysterious name.
Oh.
And so she did have an identical twin.
Okay,
but it
that's
was
fair.
hers.
I was like, how? Okay, that's pretty good.
She was like, I literally was losing my shit for like an entire day.
gosh, yeah.
That my whole life has been a lie.
That would be so crazy.
But then I was like, but how weird is that? That like you get that and you're like, identical twin.
Yeah, your whole
See,
life.
that's why I don't want to do one of those.
Yeah.
I kind of want to know, but I don't.
Maybe you have an identical twin somewhere. You might have one. I don't know.
God help the world. Like, God help the world if that's the case. Okay, and are you skydiving or scuba diving?
Okay, I'd probably go skydiving because I have scuba dived before, and honestly, it's probably neither for me, but scuba diving, it was just tough. Like, I think I went in Hawaii one time, and the week prior, there was a shark attack, and a man was, like, killed there, and the same beach that we went scuba diving. And so I just, like, don't like being underwater. You can't, like, breathe. There's just something that's different. It's very unknown. Like, at least if you go skydiving, I feel like it's, like, 2 minutes, maybe, I don't really know, 5 minutes. You're flying in the air. Scary, but then you're done. But
the
like,
only thing that can happen is you can just knot your parachute on up and you need to die.
and you can just
But
I'd
scuba
probably go
diving,
that.
you could just float to the top and save your life.
There's like a lot of things that you can't pull your. There's like a lot of instructions. If you like pull something too soon and you shoot up, your lungs could burst. Like it's kind of scary. And then there's a lot of animal or like whales and sharks and fish and
I'm good off both. Like I feel like if that was what I was supposed to do in my life, I just wouldn't listen because that's just
scary. Yeah. Why put your life at risk?
There's no like 911 ability in there. Then what am I doing?
I know.
Yeah.
You're right.
It's like these people that go to space. No,
I'm good.
I'm good. I'll live it out right here. Live it out right here. Okay.
I am switching gears here. Ready?
Yep.
Oceans or mountains?
Oceans, but with a pool.
Ocean with a pool. So you want both. Would you rather swim in an ocean or swim in a pool?
Pool all day long, but fun fact, I can't swim.
Oh.
I don't know how to swim.
That is a fun fact.
Yep, don't know how to swim.
Whoa.
So I will only get in water I can like touch in and see in the bottom in, but I cannot swim.
Wow. Do your kids swim?
Yes.
You want them to swim because you didn't
They
know how.
are like phenomenal swimmers. I went to like swim class. No, I want them to know how to swim because I can't save them.
I'm like, okay.
So it has nothing to do with me. It's really because like if they're drowning, I can't save them. So like they at least can save each other themselves.
There you go.
So I mean,
wow, that is a fun fact.
And I'm too old to go to swim class
don't
and like
want
the lane one with the 3-year-old to learn how to swim.
You can do it. You can do anything.
I just that one I'm going to the grave with. Like fair. I'm going to the grave.
You know, at least you know. I get it. Disneyland or Universal?
Disneyland.
Knew it.
Disneyland.
Had a feeling.
I actually went last year and it's just something magic. I go every year, but like it's just something magical about it. Like I love the ability you have to go into a place and the atmosphere changes your circumstances. Like you're in a whole nother world.
So happy.
I think that like what's so cool about it is like that's someone's job to like make you have that experience.
I know.
But then I watch all these like behind the scenes shows that are like they pump in cookie smells through the like vents to like make you go to the bakery and like do all this
smart marketing.
But it works.
Yeah, it works. It's great business.
And I'm in marketing, so I'm like,
whoa.
Say less. Like actually like makes sense.
Yeah.
Like I get it. Yeah, but Disneyland all day.
Okay. Eating in or eating out?
Oh, I am a homebody, but I don't want to have to do the dishes. So if there's a hybrid, I'm taking it. But honestly, I like to eat out. I like to try new things. I also love to people watch. So that is like probabably where I'm at.
What's your go-to type of food you like?
Oh, it's funny. So I love Italian and I love Mexican food, but I like authentic. I don't like Tex-Mex.
Yeah,
like, I don't
I'm not a
like
big
that.
Tex-Mex,
Like I
no.
want the real good Mexican food.
Yeah.
With like the white cheese dip and stuff. I want that.
So good.
But I also love like Italian pasta. Like, I love pasta. I've also gotten into like Korean, like Korean rice cake bun things.
Okay.
Like, I don't know. I'm not a big like trier of new things, so I'm trying to expand myself. Like outgrow that. Okay. But yeah, I'm more. If I had to choose between the two, I would say Italian.
Italian. Okay.
Italian.
So travel to the past. Ooh, you got the hard one. Travel to the past or to the future. I know, that's so tough.
I'm going to say past because I'm hopefully going to live in the future. So I'm going to experience it at some point.
Yeah.
But the past, I can't be a part of.
Yeah.
Right? So I think I would say past, then future.
That's valid. I feel like if you go to the future, then you could, I mean, I guess that's where you're meant to be. But sometimes when you go to like readings, which I've never done that before.
Oh,
but
we should go.
Yeah, but then it could like alter your decisions, I feel like. But maybe that's the path. But it's like, oh, well, I'm supposed to be here, so maybe I'll make this decision to go this way.
Yeah.
I don't know, it kind of spoils it.
Well, and I'm also just kind of like, if it's really shitty future, like
Yeah,
who
that's
wants
true.
to see that?
I don't want to see that.
Then you have to go back and you're like, what am I doing this for? Because it
Yeah.
sucks in 10 years. So like, I'd rather just figure it out as I go.
I love it. I'm with you all the way. Early bird or night owl?
I am going to go with night owl, even though I like to go to bed early. I said that on another episode. I am not like a stay up, play video games, like not me. Like I like to go to bed and have like a routine. I have a hard time sleeping sometimes. Like I can fall asleep, but once I'm woken up, I'm awake. So I'm a light sleeper, and I hate that because those people that can just sleep dead as a doornail
I don't know
anywhere.
how they do that.
Like I want to be like them.
Yeah.
Like I need to have somebody on here to talk about like how do you sleep through that?
What if someone broke into your house and you were asleep and you had no idea?
I mean, or the opposite is you wake up and you're hiding in your closet. So like they might be winning, Megan. Megan, they might be living their best life because they don't know what's going on, and I'm over there trembling in a closet.
Yeah.
So yeah, another bonus for them.
Well, this is a little side whatever, but I've been following the Brian Koberger case. Do you know
Yes!
that? He went to Washington State where I went to school.
Shut up!
Well, he did his like he was getting his master's or something, so he didn't go to his undergrad there.
He's getting his PhD.
He was getting his PhD. Oh my gosh, yeah. And so I was always curious. He went to like Moscow, and he like obviously you know the story. He unfortunately murdered 4 people, but. I was always wondering, like, would I rather just be asleep and just, okay, this is really deep. But anyway, I get it. I'd probably be a heavy sleeper, but I've been following that. So I've been thinking about that. So
I didn't even connect the dots that's where you're from. No, I watched the whole thing and listened to like the podcast and like the whole thing.
Yeah.
Like I'm in it to win it, to watch the trial.
It's
like,
I know, I can't
I will
wait.
be watching that trial from my desk every day.
Yeah. And
listening.
Prayers for the family. That's so
for sure.
families. That's so sad. But
well, and just the whole town and like that whole circumstance. But like,
I know it's very interesting.
One of our other guests was a psychology major, so like I want to be like, what is this? What does this mean? Like this, that, the other, but oh my gosh,
I know. Okay,
small world.
Finally, sweet or savory?
I'm gonna go savory. I'm not really a sweet person. Like I don't like chocolate.
Oh, wow.
I'm not like one of those people that's like I have to have like chocolate album. I don't like it. I love like chili lime. Okay, like.
What's your go-to snack? Like chips?
Lime chips. Lay's, lime chips. All day long. I could eat a bag of those a day. Or chili lime chips. I could eat those too. Lay's chili lime chips. So shout out Lay's. Like that's where I'm at. But yeah, I actually tried the Takis chips the other day. Because my daughter loves Takis.
Yeah, those.
But I'm like, they're so hot.
They are. They're really hot. They're
I know.
Super spicy.
I know. And then she gets mad that she doesn't feel good. And I'm like, well, don't eat Takis.
Like, they're so hot.
Note to self. But yeah, I'm Lay's lime chips all day. And when I find them in an airport, I'm really happy.
Yeah.
So Megan, I am going to flip this table on you now.
Okay, my table.
Yeah, welcome to your table. I just had my table, but together we make her table. All right. So tell me what you do. Like you work at ESPN. No?
No, NFL Network, but close enough.
Okay, so we're gonna flip. Jesus Lord, I've been here all day, people. You want to
I
do
know,
2
we're
more of
living
these
it.
shows? Come on, today.
No, I don't know how you do
Today.
it.
Okay, so I'm gonna flip the table on you, Megan.
Okay.
I want who are you? Where
Yep.
are you from? You work at NFL Network.
Yes.
What do you do at NFL Network?
Yes.
And what are you like? What's your day to day? Like, what are you doing?
So I'm an associate producer for NFL Network out here in Inglewood, California. It's super fun. I always wanted to work in the NFL, and it's kind of funny. I was starting out in the NBA just because that was pretty much the position I got, the door that opened for me. So I was, working out there, and I love the NBA. Like NFL, NBA are my 2 favorites. But now I work for NFL Network. I used to always watch NFL Network growing up. So it's just so fun. Their network is different than I think a lot of the other networks, just because they're able to have fun on TV. They have different ideas, and that's something that like I play into. So I work on game day morning, and sometimes the hours are crazy, and I'll get into all that. But something that's cool about game day morning is that they take unique angles of like different topics they want to discuss. So like something I was super proud of this last year, I created a piece called like Air Mahomes, and it was on Patrick Mahomes. And it was a music video, but it was like fun, but it led into the topic of like how he is on the air, how he is on the ground. And it's just like finding like unique and different angles to talk about a player or a team, and then getting into that. And then I think something else that I do with NFL Network is going to those meetings that we have. There's a few a week, and pitching the ideas to like our executive producers about like how can we go about like this game, or who do we want to talk about, or what angles do we want to approach for this big Sunday matchup between the Cowboys and 49ers, stuff like that. And it's super fun. It's just a creative way to get into all that. But so that's what I do. It's great. I work with amazing people. I really enjoy it. And yeah.
How long have you been there?
So I just finished my first season, which is crazy because I was only there for a year, but I'm, coming back, and I'm super excited just because I, started an MBA and everything. Love the MBA. But this is just something, it's different, it's challenging, and it's fun.
Have you always, okay, so you're an associate producer. Okay, so what is your like day-to-day? Like, what does that mean? Like, for dumb me, what do you do? Like, you pitch shows, you build shows, are you doing interviews? Like what are you doing?
So during the season, I guess a normal day is you're meeting up with your team, and you're pitching ideas for the Sunday slate. So there could be Cowboys versus 49ers. There could be Saints versus the Bucks. And so what you're doing is you have these games, and you're trying to find different angles. And so you're pitching like, oh, let's talk about, like last year, like Tom Brady, and he's facing the Saints, and he is 0-4 against the Saints while he's a Buck. And so with the Buccaneers. And so you're just trying to like pitch different ideas with your team. And then from there, you're working on your ideas, and you're working with an editor to kind of create different angles, different music videos to kind of play before you're talking about the topic and the subject for the talent and everybody to talk about. And then, so you're working with an editor, you're coming up with like different sounds, different angles, like different players mic'd up you get to see, which is super fun because you get like a whole, like you get to see Patrick Mahomes mic'd up talking about whatever, like Joe Burrow, some fun stuff like, wow, that's so cool. But just really kind of getting, what the cool thing about NFL Network is you get to see a ton of the stuff that people don't get to see because you get all the NFL footage of all the players and everything. And that's something I love. And so from there, the next coming days, you're working on your work, you're talking to your team, seeing where everybody's at, you're pitching different fun ideas. I know this last season, we have games that we play during the show. So you're trying to pitch like fun games to play, or like there's one that one of our guys, I think it's been going on, but for a while, but they pitched some people on our staff dress up as like an eagle, and they dress up as like a dolphin because like player or mascots in the NFL, and they have like the talent try to like catch up to them if they think they're gonna beat them in the playoffs, or like just weird things. And I think that's something that's so special about NFL Network is because they take creative different angles.
It's
and
not
you don't
just
really
like a
see
story.
that.
It's not like,
and
oh,
you're
here are
making
the
it fun.
stats, who's going to win, whatever.
Yeah.
You guys are incorporating like
Exactly.
the creative
Exactly.
side.
Yeah.
It seems. Okay, so is
Yeah.
this what you always wanted to do?
Yeah, I mean, I think I've always wanted to work in the NFL. So, like, the producing side is so fun because you're telling a story, you're telling a different angle. So, yeah, and I just grew up always wanting to work in sports. That was such a big thing for me. I think because I used to play soccer and it was so much fun. I still play it out in Santa Monica, shout out, just for fun.
Go catch her on a quick green.
Yeah.
She's over there.
Yeah, Selena Gomez was there like a week ago.
Oh.
You know, I know.
Oh, that's when she was
So
like
TikTok.
yelling.
She's like,
Yeah,
I'm single.
I'm single.
Yeah.
You should have sat down next to her and been like, I'm single too.
had no idea.
Let's everyone Savannah Banana.
I had no idea. But yeah, so I just always wanted to work in sports. And so from this is, I mean, I try to pinch myself too, like, wow, I'm like at NFL Network. I'm creating like stories to go on this like national network. Like, it's something that's really special and something cool. I have to like kind of take a step back and be like, wow, this is where where I'm at today. So yeah.
What's one of the challenges you've had?
I think something just like, I think it's gotten better over the years, but I mean, even with my team, I'm like one of the only girls that's there. So when I'm pitching ideas, you really have to do your research and you really have to know what you're talking about, because if you don't know what you're talking about, you're going to get called out because you're in a room full of men and they know what they're talking about. And if you can't back your information up,
you're going to get exposed.
and then you're going to get exposed, and then it's just like, it's not fun. And it's like, you just have to be ready and you just have to be prepared. And maybe that's something that goes into being a woman in the sports world. And I know that. And so whenever I come to every meeting, I make sure I have my ideas ready. I make sure I have my stats like to back up what I want to do. And I think that's huge. And I think too, I know we like touched on it earlier, but just kind of going into a room, knowing how to dress, being professional, being yourself, but also and having fun and being a great person to work with, but also like standing your ground and not letting like guys and men kind of be like, oh, do you even know what you're talking about? It's like, yeah, I do actually. Let me show you. And
well,
stuff,
and I think like you said that just now, like you have to like go into it, like you have to go into it prepared, like somebody is going to like somebody's going to shoot down your idea.
Right.
And you have to almost be prepared for what their no is going to be.
Exactly.
Or I don't think that's most like men. Like they go in and they're like, oh, it's a great idea. I'm going to do it. But it's like, okay, well, I know they're going to say no, and here's what they're going to say no to, right? It's like, okay, what is that? Like, why? Why do women have to go in with more like evidence?
Yeah.
For something that they want to champion or push that they normally wouldn't have to.
I know. I think that's such a thing. And I think it's getting better, as time goes by. But I mean, even they're getting better with it. I think women in sports in general, but it's definitely still there. There's a lot of men that work there. And I think too, like there are a lot of good men who want women to succeed as well. So like there are some, so I want to highlight those men that are all for women. And so it's just kind of having that respect for yourself and then also having men respect you in a professional setting. And it's definitely a barrier and it's hard sometimes. Like I know I've asked guests like when you get the no, or how do you get the confidence to kind of speak up when you're like, maybe I shouldn't, so stuff like that. But I think times are changing and sports is evolving for women in the workforce. And
I think what you said is like spot on, right? Of like you have to go in there like prepared, because if you go in there unprepared and you expose yourself, the next girl that's in that position, it's 10 times harder for her.
Exactly.
Because they expect her to not be prepared, and they're they're coming for her harder than they were coming for you.
Right.
And I think like so that I think is one thing, and then the other thing is like the men that bring women to the table, don't be afraid to come to the table.
Right.
Like literally, if you're invited, get a chair, get a coffee, get your kombucha, like whatever you need. Sit down and be present.
Yeah.
And like I always say, like own a room, own a table, like be there and have a presence. Like they say all the time, like have a presence. Don't like take up space. Yeah. Take up space. Yeah. Because if you don't, somebody else will. And I think for you, especially like at NFL Network, like you're one of few women. Yeah. So, like, you have to take up space. Yep. And you also have to, like, bring somebody else with you. Yeah. That's the thing. Because if you can bring somebody, and then they bring somebody, and then they bring somebody, it's like, you're now, like, making your own little army of fun. Yeah. And then it's like, where'd all this come from? And it's like, well, but that's something you have to do. Yeah.
Leading by example. And, like, even for me, like, there's a features producer. Her name's India Wright, and I just think she's amazing. Would love to have her on her table. Yeah. But she like walks into a room and she commands room, and it's just like you see her, and she's she dresses well. She's so well respected. She does a great job. And like, she's so good at what she does. You look at, like, for me, I look at her and I'm like, wow, I want to be like that. And so for me, I want to be that person for somebody who's coming into the industry,
she's your her.
Yeah.
You want to be her.
I want to be someone like that. Yeah. And I love her.
it.
She's awesome. And she's, somebody who really looks out for women and men too. But she looks out for everyone because I think she had help along the way. And so she wants to give it back. And I just think that's something that's so special and want to continue to do.
So I know you just completed your first year. Mm-hmm. You're still growing at NFL Network.
Yeah.
Where's Megan in 5 years?
Good question. I really like the producing side of it, but I also like to do stuff like on camera for me. So I think like really getting into that space and kind of seeing what I can do there. Kind of, I don't know, maybe it's a different angle of like doing some fun shows because they are fun on NFL Network and everything.
Yeah.
But still having that producing background, like creating the stories and having kind of that involvement, that say, like kind of leading the show and knowing where the show is going to go. I just love that aspect.
Yeah.
So,
No, I think that's amazing.
Yeah.
What for you, like, you're just kicking off your career. Mm-hmm. You are just in the trenches, climbing the ladder, right?
Yeah.
How are you climbing the ladder?
That's a good question. I know. I think for me, it's like, well, one, you look at like, so for like my parents, for example, I mean, you look at them and they're hard workers and, my siblings are the same way. And you just kind of, you surround yourself with good people and you surround yourself with people you want to be like, I feel like. Mm-hmm. So that's one thing. I always have to work out. Like that's like a big thing because I do get stressed, like, but not like crazy stressed, but I think working out honestly like helps everything out.
Yeah.
But just like never take a no for an answer. Like I know we've talked about this before, but like if you're getting a no, you're talking to the wrong person.
Right.
And
That's not your person.
It's not your person. And there's another opportunity. Maybe it's a no for a reason and there's another opportunity.
Yeah.
So I think for me, it's just always like, I always go into like a lot of things. Like when I first like interviewed for NFL Network, I was working for Fox at the time. And I just remember like thinking, well, I got nothing to lose. Like I might as well just, do this interview and see where it goes. And I didn't know if I was going to even take the job when it was offered to me. But I was like, hey, like why not just like grow and take a challenge? But that's kind of how I've always been, is just always wanting, just want to be better for myself. And so just kind of having that mentality.
What is like, so you said you play soccer.
Yeah.
Okay. So what do you do on the weekends? Like, what do you do in the off season?
Other
than come work here at her table and we're just, doing whatever we want. The curtains.
I watch a lot of sports. Like I really do watch a lot of sports in my downtime. Like I love watching the NBA playoffs. They just finished, or playoffs. I don't want to put that in there, but playoff, NBA, MLB, everything. I do enjoy watching sports. I like traveling a lot. Yeah, my family's all over. I have a sister in Miami, a brother in New Orleans.
Are you old, young,
third?
middle? You're
I'm
the
third of four.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so my family's all over the place. My older brother's in Boise, but I like to travel. I like to visit my family. They're in Boise, Idaho, so they're just, everyone's all over the place, but I also like to play soccer. I think it's so fun. We have a great community out here, and just staying active is so big for me. Mm-hmm. And then another thing, I guess, is just shopping. That's probably like a bad thing, but like, love it. It's so fun. That's what I do on my weekends. Yeah.
Well, I think part of that's like your creative side.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like it is, I do feel like that is part of creative people like to go like curate and shop and put things together.
I love it. Like putting an outfit together. I mean, I will spend hours on Pinterest or even.
Girl, I was sending you videos of my hotel room floor of what the options were and what I was thinking. Like we're making mood boards on Pinterest for ourselves because we clearly don't know what we're doing.
Yeah, no, I just love spending time, and I'll like see, I love these shoes. Like I'm really into like sneakers and dunks, and that's like my new thing right now, are dunks. I was into Jordans, but now I'm into dunks.
We're like a match made in heaven. You're into like Jordans and dunks, and I'm into like, what's Christian got out for me today that I need to go pick up and snag. So I'll throw some dunks your way. When I worked at Nike, I would honestly, you could wear Nike to the office. Like every day I would just wear like leggings and tennis shoes. And then now I'm like, I could do that, but I don't. And I get dressed to go. Do you go to an office every day?
Yeah.
Like, you go to office?
Yeah, okay. I do dress up. Like it depends. Like sometimes I have fun, but I think there's something that's different. I don't know. I think there's when you walk in and you look nice, I think you just get a little more
Who said
respect.
it? Deion Sanders said it. He said, when you look good, you feel
Yeah.
good. When you feel good, you play good. And when you play good, they pay good.
Yes.
Like,
love it.
hands down, I firmly believe, and Natalie Dawson says this stuff too, of like, if that's what you feel good in and you feel your best, who is someone to tell you that that's too much or too little?
Yeah.
If that is what makes you feel confident and like inspired and makes you feel good, wear that purple suit.
Yes.
Wear those bright green dunks. Like,
Love it.
wear whatever.
Yeah.
Because that's you.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's when you can be yourself. That's where that confidence comes from. So if you're not working at NFL Network, where are you working? At Chick-fil-A with me in the drive-through line. Just don't forget to say, our pleasure. It's our pleasure.
Yeah, my pleasure.
My pleasure.
If I didn't get into this field, I want to be a pilot, which is like
Wow.
funny. I know. I mean, I don't have any experience.
That's where the skydiving comes from, everyone.
maybe
She
that
wants
is
to
why.
be in a plane, and then she wants to fly it and jump out of it. Yes.
That makes sense now. No, my mom's a flight attendant, and so she actually took pilot lessons like for like years ago. It's a whole thing.
Okay.
You have to really commit to it.
Yeah.
But it's something like to get your pilot license would be super sweet one day. I think that's something I still would love to get. I just think that's such an amazing thing to be able to like fly in the air and to control a plane and just, oh my gosh. So that's probably why I love traveling too. So that would make sense.
That's way too much responsibility for me.
It
I
is
want
a
to
lot of
get on
responsibility.
and I want to put my little butt in a seat and then let someone else do all the responsible
That's
things
true.
and then I just get off. That is a lot of
True.
responsibility.
Yeah. But I feel like it's so rewarding to like be able to do that and just, obviously I haven't done it. But
I think we should have a show where we take Megan and we put her in one of those planes where they do like the crazy spins and like all of that craziness. Yeah, take her to that.
Yeah.
I'm going to watch from the bottom. I'll watch. You can put me a live feed on a GoPro. I won't be in that plane. No.
Okay. You'll be maybe scuba diving. Probably not.
No. I can't swim, remember?
Oh, yeah, that's why.
I can't swim.
How could you not? If that's the case, you have to go skydiving. If you had to pick between scuba diving or skydiving, you would go skydiving.
If God meant for people to jump out of planes, then we'd all be doing it on the regular, okay? There's a reason that is not incorporated in our daily living. That's my firm belief.
Okay, fine.
Then he wouldn't put it on the ground. Yeah, no. What, for you, like, what are you telling younger you? First year from NFL Network, what are you telling yourself 2 years ago?
I think one, like, never give up. If you have a dream, like, just keep going. Like, persevere. Don't take no as an answer. Don't accept it. Keep going. Be confident. I think if you don't believe in yourself, then who else will? That's like such something that I like live by. So you just have to be confident in yourself. Like, be prepared. That's another thing for any like young woman who's like getting into this industry. Just be ready. Like, just know if something doesn't work, like just have an alternate angle of how to go about things, and just be ready. Like, I think it's a demanding field. It's a tough industry. Crazy hours. I mean, I forgot to touch on it, but during the season on Sundays, I have to be at work at 3 a.m.
What?
Yeah, because it's like they're based, they start airing really like East Coast time, so I'm at West Coast. So, but just be ready for the hours. I mean, when I was working the NBA, and I'm sure you're working nights, you're working weekends.
It's a commitment.
It is a commitment.
It's a commitment.
Yeah, so just be ready, be prepared, know that that's what you want to do. If you're passionate about it, then go after it. So, yeah.
I think one of the things I've learned this year is when you need a boost or you need support or you need someone to like reassure you, because you're going to have moments where you doubt yourself. You're going to have moments of like, am I making the right choice? Is this the right thing? Or this didn't work out, or this happened. Like, being vulnerable enough to reach out to somebody who you trust to champion for you. To where it's like, you know what? Like, that sucks. You're making the right decision. I know this is hard. I know it seems like this. You're changing your mind. You shouldn't do this. Like, no, don't fire that client. Like, no, this or that, right? Mm-hmm. But at the end of the day, like, if someone's like, you're making the right choice, you've done everything that you can. Right. You can move on from this or go try again. Like, having somebody reassure you is so important. For sure. That isn't your mom. That isn't your dad. That isn't your boyfriend, whatever. Right. It's someone who's been in this industry to say, like, their weight in that reassurance carries so much because they've probably been through it. Yeah. And I need somebody to say, like, I've been through it and it's okay.
Yeah.
You're gonna get there.
Yeah.
It's okay. Rather than like, my mom just being like, it's okay,
I know,
whatever.
yeah.
Like, it's so
She's like,
sweet. But it's like, I want somebody to be like, I've
Yeah.
been where you are.
Yep.
I've gotten to the other side. That's one of the things I really strive for, is to like work on this year. And I would say to you would be great is to have people that you can call and be like, okay, I got shut down. I'm not sure, blah, blah, blah. And let someone be like, no, you got this shit.
Yeah.
Go in there, go get it again.
Love it.
Because sometimes you just need to hear it from somebody else.
Yeah.
You know it.
I know it.
You
Yeah.
just got to hear it from somebody else.
Yeah. Need it. Just the assurance.
Hands down.
Yeah.
All right. And who's your favorite sports teams?
Oh, I love the New Orleans Saints. That's my squad. That's my team. With Jamie Meeks. She's on the podcast. She's great. She's the nutritionist, director of nutrition for the Saints. Oh my gosh. Huge fan. Because I forgot to touch, but like I moved around my whole entire life. Lived in Seattle, Orange County, Texas, Idaho, everywhere. And my mom's a flight attendant, and she used to fly the Saints. And so since I never really had a team, they became my team. I think I was maybe 7 or 8 when she started flying them. And it was only for a few years. But yeah, so they became my team because I didn't have one. And then now my brother is actually, he just got promoted to the assistant to the head coach. So he's working directly with Dennis Allen out for the Saints and everything. But I'm a huge fan. They'll be out here in August for preseason. They're playing the Chargers. And then they're going to be out here in December playing the Rams on Thursday Night Football. So I already have the schedule ready to go.
She is already like, I'm not working. There will be no day, NFL game day for me.
Yep.
I am going to be there with my face paint on, living my best life.
Yes, love it. And then NBA, like I like players too. So I'm a big fan of Damian Lillard, Kawhi Leonard. I love them. Because Damian, it's easy to like the Blazers because he's been at the Blazers since day one. Kawhi, obviously, he's changed teams. But I think that's a lot of players nowadays with the NBA. It's like it's hard to, unless you love a team and have a team, it's hard to really pick one because there's so many good players.
Yeah.
And if you're a player girl, then it's tough.
Well, listen, it's part of the lifestyle.
Yeah.
Part of it. Well, what made you want to do this show? What made you want to do her podcast?
Her table.
Her table.
I mean, I think this is such a great opportunity to learn from you. For someone, I know you're
we
like,
have no idea what we're doing here, people. So she's hyping me up right now.
Somebody who is like so established in her career and has done so much. Like you're telling me these stories about, I went to overseas with Steph Curry, and I did this brand with Giannis. I'm just sitting here like we said. You have no idea how crazy it is for somebody like as a fan of like the NBA or just in the sports world. Like this, wow, she was traveling overseas. So like to learn from you, that's amazing. I just also think like being a big like supporter of like other women and like celebrating women, I think that's so huge in this industry because there are times when I first started out where I didn't have that support from other women, unfortunately, but I also have had that support from other women, and so I want to be that person who can celebrate women and be happy for them. So I think this is great. Have women share their stories, have men, who celebrate women as well. So this I just think is such a great opportunity, and I would love for our audience and listeners to like take a little piece of advice from this and kind of grow and take it as they may. So
no, I think it's special. I think for us when we look at like why like we've never even talked. So like we went through this whole thing, y'all, of like what are we gonna name this podcast? What are we gonna do? And it was kind of like, was it gonna be about sports? Was it gonna be this, that, the other? And like we really like put so much thought into like I don't want to limit ourselves in sports, but we're gonna focus on women in sports, and that is all aspects of not just GMs or coaches or people that touch a basketball. It's people that touch the game of basketball or football or MLB. Like so many people go into it and sharing their stories as humans, because so much times we celebrate they won a championship, they're a leading scorer, they're this, they're that, like but they're people.
Yes.
And so
People
how
first.
are we how are we connecting like fans and an audience to who they are as a person that can then celebrate their career?
Yeah.
Because not everyone's dream is to be me or you or anyone else, but there might be some part of our story that inspires somebody else.
Yeah.
In some kind of weird way.
Yeah.
And so we were like, you know what? Like, I love the idea of, we always say, like, you'd have a table and, like, take your seat at the table and, like, bring people in and, like, you always talk about, like, if you're not, your table is for anybody. And so it was like, I always grew up being like, I want to be her. I don't know who that is, but I want to be her. And I want to be her. And so someone's saying I want to be her. So it's like, it's not Kate and Megan's table. It's her table because we were her.
Yep.
We're not going to be her. We wanted to be her. Like that story can just continue on. And so when this can live and create kind of the trickle down effect of like, we're able to share stories and celebrate people all day long. That's what it's about, because there's some really awesome people in this world,
Really?
and the world needs to know about them.
I agree.
That's how I feel.
Yeah.
And we happen to be like two of them that, hey, she wants to drink kombucha in the morning. I want to drink wine in the morning. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine.
You didn't give wine as an option. I like champagne. For
See,
a little
she's-
mimosa.
Listen.
Oh, hey, kombucha has a little trace amount.
Your trace. Tomorrow when you see us in here, and then tune in next week to see what drinks we bring to the table.
Yes.
What we want to give our guests on the table. But no, I'm so happy you're here. I love what we're doing. I love what we're building.
Yes.
And I think it's inspiring to watch two people who've never met.
Right.
Literally never met until 8 hours ago.
Yeah.
Literally be able to impact people that we interviewed today and
Yeah.
stories we told today
For
that
sure.
they're going to take with them.
Yeah.
We must be doing something right.
I know.
I don't know what it is, but you
love
know
it.
what? It happens at her table.
Love
so
it. It does. Her table.
that's where we're at.